Hi there, my name is Penny and I have never made a YouTube video before, but I feel really quite strongly about making this one to speak about my journey over the last 7 months and how I have gone through open heart surgery and how God has walked with me the whole way through. Okay, so as you can see, 2.5 weeks ago, I had open heart surgery to repair my mitral valve. When I was 11, I found out I have a heart murmur, and that was caused by a mitral valve prolapse, which is a leak in the valve. It was a very mild condition. My parents were actually told, this will not affect Penny. She'll live a normal life. It's so mild. It's more of a condition than anything else. So that's what I was told, and that's what I had believed right up until January of this year. So 3 years ago, I saw my cardiologist, and he said, everything's great. You're in your mid-40s, so I think it would be wise now if you came to see me every 3 years. Thankfully, he said that because when I went back in January, things had changed significantly. So a week before I went to see him, I had some routine tests done, echocardiogram, an ultrasound of the heart. And when I went to see him, the week later, he sat me down, and I could just tell by the look on his face that something wasn't quite right. And he said, Penny, I'm really sorry, but in the 3 years from when I last saw you to now, your mitral valve has gone from a mild leak to a severe leak, and we need to operate. I was completely and utterly shocked. I was not expecting it at all. In fact, I didn't even take my husband to the appointment because, would you believe, we were moving house at that particular time. So my husband was handing in the keys to the real estate, picking up the new set, and I said to him, I'll just run in, get my tick of approval, and I'll meet you for coffee in 20 minutes down the road. So that's how unprepared I was. So I was filled with fear. I was terrified. I was so scared. Open heart surgery, all I could think about was possible death. Heart and lung machine, they have to stop my heart, all these sorts of things were just, filling my mind, and I was super scared. Also, the very next day, both my husband and I were starting a brand new job. We're both teachers, and we were moving from one school to another school. So this did not fit my plan. I even said to the cardiologist, this timing is just not right. We're moving house. We start a new job tomorrow. I don't have enough sick leave to take 6 weeks off. This doesn't suit. It's funny how we try to take control of matters that we have no control of. So anyway, I had always struggled with anxiety and stress, but I really did believe that I had gotten rid of that many, many years ago. I was particularly anxious as a young mum during my pregnancies, things like that, but I believed I had worked through all of that, and God had, taken me on a journey and helped me grow in my trust of Him. But that particular day, January the 17th, it was like all that fear and anxiety just came straight back on me, and it settled in. And I think I spent the first week and a half just crying. I started a brand new job, crying. At the drop of the hat, I would just be a mess. The tears would they just kept on coming. And I was just crying out to God, saying, God, why? This wasn't meant to happen. Why are you allowing this to happen to me? And we went to church, our normal church, on, I think it was 2 Sundays after I'd found out. And we had just finished a beautiful song, and our pastor said, turn around, say hello to someone, as you do. And I turned around, very, very emotional, and there was a new girl standing behind me who I'd never met before. And I introduced myself to her, and I'm crying, and I thought, she's going to think I'm a Fruit Loop, like, what's going on? So at the end of the service, I thought I better go back and just reintroduce myself and explain why I'm a mess. And I did, and I felt like God put her there that day, because she said, Penny, I'm so pleased you came back to talk to me, because I can help. I have been through some very serious operations, and one of those I actually knew that I was dying in, and she was aware that her husband had been called in to say goodbye, and she was telling me how she just prayed, even though she was unconscious, obviously, and couldn't communicate. She was aware of what was going on, and she prayed through it, and God just kept telling her, keep praying, keep praising me. And I think she said she kept saying Psalm 37 over and over, but she was encouraging me to just really press into the Word of God and get some scriptures that will just really, really help you. And I already knew what the scriptures were, because I've had these amazing scriptures my whole life that have helped me the whole way through. And so I took that on. And for me, since becoming a Christian at the age of about 17, right up until now, I'm now 48, Isaiah 41:10 has been my go-to verse. When I was battling with fear and anxiety back, like I said, when I was a young mum, I had Isaiah 41:10 everywhere. It was on my bathroom mirror in the morning. It was in my wallet. It was on my bedside table. It was everywhere. And of course, Isaiah 41:10 is, do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. So I knew straight away when this girl said, get some scriptures, Isaiah 41:10. The other one, Proverbs 3, verses 24 to 26, which reads, when you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. Have no fear of disaster or of the ruin that overtakes the wicked, for the Lord is your confidence and will keep your foot from being snared. Now, those first few weeks of finding out, my sleep was certainly not sweet. So to keep saying that scripture, when you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet, just brought so much peace to me. And the other scripture that really helped me a lot, again from Isaiah 43:2, when you walk through the waters, I will be with you. When you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. So I had these scriptures that I kept going to, and it's amazing how God kept bringing them through people, through children in my class. I'd walk into a bookshop and go to, the Christian book section and open up a book, and it would fall open to Isaiah 41:10. I went to a different church one Sunday, and the minister was preaching on Isaiah 41:10. So I wasn't even looking for these scriptures. They were just there all the time. It was God confirming, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, Penny. I am with you. I've got this. Anyway, when I got home from church that Sunday after meeting this new girl, I felt really encouraged, and I prayed. I said, God, I need more of this today. Please, I need you to speak to me more. I need you to speak directly to my heart. Keep reassuring me that I'm going to be okay. Keep reassuring me that you've got this, that you're with me. And so I went into my lounge room and I just put on YouTube, typed in praise and worship music, nothing in particular. It was just completely random, and I just waited on God. And the first song that came on was Firm Foundation by Kobe Carnes and Maverick City. I'd heard it before, but I hadn't really listened to the lyrics closely. And wow, I felt like it was just me and God in my lounge room. The lyrics are incredible, but there's a section that goes over and over again, and the words go, rain came, winds blew, but my house is built on you. I'm safe with you. I'm going to make it through. And those words are just sung over and over, and I just stood there with my hands out, just thanking God for this beautiful moment where he was reassuring me that things were going to be okay. And then, would you believe, the very next song, which I had never ever heard before, makes me cry thinking about it, is called Run to the Father. And again, it's by Cody Carnes and Maverick City. And the lyrics actually say, "My heart needs a surgeon." When I heard that, I'm like, what? I bet there is no other song on this planet that talks about your heart needing a surgeon. And that was the very next song that played on my TV. And it even talks about, in the second or the third verse, it talks about how God saw my condition from the start. He knew about my condition before I was even born. And the word condition touched me because, like I said earlier, when I was 11, I was told that my heart problem was more of a condition than anything else. And then at the very end of the song, it says, "I've found you a surgeon." And then the week later, I went up to the Gold Coast University Hospital and met my surgeon. So, you know, moments like that, some would say are just a coincidence, but no, for me, I call it a God incidence. Here I am calling out to God going, "Can you please talk to me today?" And those two songs came on and they spoke directly to my heart. And I just felt like God was reassuring me that it's all going to be okay. I honestly went from being filled with fear in those first few weeks over the 7 months. I found out in January. The surgery only happened 2.5 weeks ago in August. So it was a 7-month journey. I went from fear, anxiety, terrified of death, all those things, to having God's peace, a peace that I can't explain, a peace that surpasses all understanding. People at work, mind you, I worked all the way up until the day before I went to hospital, teaching full time, because I had incredible energy. I honestly felt like there was nothing wrong with me. I feel like God just sustained me that whole time. I felt the healthiest I've ever felt. And people kept saying, "Penny, you are just so peaceful. How are you so peaceful?" And it was God's peace. I knew I was going to be okay. To backtrack a little bit, in the beginning when I was quite anxious, God really went deep with my husband and myself. We had to really ask ourselves those tough questions, and we had to face, you know, the possibility of, what if things don't turn out the way that we want them to? But God took us down that path to get us to really, really trust in Him. And one particular morning we were driving to work, and we try to do devotions most days. We don't, but we do try to do them as often as we can. And this particular morning we were driving to work, and you know, the morning routine is pretty hectic and crazy. And so I was reading the devotion in the car on the way to work. And it was about a lady who actually loses her spouse in a terrible accident. And the point was basically asking, will you still follow me if you lose your spouse? Now that was really, really challenging, particularly for my husband. And of course, yes, he said, "I will follow you, God, no matter what the outcome." But to face those questions and really delve deep, I really believe was part of God's plan. And it made me realize that at the end of the day, I don't fear death because I know where I'm going. But it's not until you face something like this that you actually start to explore those areas. But yeah, the peace that I had was honestly, I just don't know how to explain it other than saying it was God's peace. God spoke to me right up until that very last moment before I was wheeled into the operating theatre. And I was waiting outside the operating theatre. I was on the bed, and I still had my phone with me, and I was listening to my 4 favourite songs: Firm Foundation, which I spoke about earlier, Run to the Father, I Speak Jesus, and Holy Forever. I was just playing those on repeat. And Firm Foundation was playing when the anaesthetist came in and he introduced himself. And he asked me, he asked, what's this song you're playing? And I said, oh, it's called Firm Foundation. It's a Christian song. And he said, yeah, I thought I recognized this one. We do this one in church. And I said, oh, wow, you're a Christian? And he said, yeah, I am. And I said, wow, you being a Christian has brought me so much peace, just knowing that you're a man of faith and you're going to be in there with me. And he looked at me and he said, Penny, you're going to be okay because God's got this. Don't be afraid. And they were the very last words spoken over me before I went under the anesthetic. So even right up until that very last moment, God was still with me, still talking to me through other people. And I knew I was going into that operation with him. And it just, again, brought me so much peace. And I just got to say that the surgery had actually been scheduled for the week earlier and it got postponed. And I was so frustrated and upset. But now I believe I know why. It was so I could have the anaesthetist that I had because he wasn't scheduled on to work the week before. So even in the frustration of the disappointment of having the surgery delayed and having to be patient and, you know, in the delays, God was in all that because he had a purpose. He had my surgical team picked. And yeah, it was really, really very special. Yeah, I just hope that you feel encouraged by this. I believe that my healing has been supernatural. This is 2.5 weeks ago. I saw my GP only last week and he was astounded. He said, honestly, this looks like this was done 3 months ago. And I'm feeling so good. I feel like I should be in bed. I feel like I should be getting everybody to just, you know, do absolutely everything for me, which they are in reason, but I feel so good. And this is after significant heart surgery. So yeah, this is just a little bit of how God's helped me through this journey, a little bit of how he's held my hand the whole way through. And I just wanted to encourage people out there. Like I said earlier, I've never made a YouTube video before. I'm not normally the sort of person who would do a YouTube or do anything talking about my relationship with God, but I feel by going through what I've gone through, I've been given a lot more boldness to do this. And yeah, I hope you feel encouraged and touched by my story. Have a great day. Bless you all.